A very good morning and welcome to Nigeria Now on your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television, the program which brings you the major headline across national dailies in Nigeria. My name is Sagir Ibrahim, and as always we have the sub-editor here at TOS TV Network, Mr. Adibayo Fajimi. Good morning, Mr. Adibayo.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome to the show once again.
Thank you.
So we have a couple of front pages here today. I will start with the Daily Trust newspaper. We see from the bottom there, 2023, North won't play second fiddle, and that's by the Northern Elders Forum. And we see a replication of that headline on the Blueprint newspaper. As a matter of fact, it is its banner headline. Northern Elders Forum to Nigerians on 2023, North won't play second fiddle. We have majority votes and will shock those waiting to buy our votes. Says we will lead Nigeria the way we've led before. We're waiting for Tinubu to decide he's our Capone, and that's by Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. So, Mr. Adebayo, I want to ask, why the use of these words, second fiddle? Is it as if the North is being sidelined in some way? Because the last I checked, they had the majority population. So how could it be possible that they're being made the second fiddle?
Well, I think the issue is just each zone is trying to exercise right, and they are trying to exude the electoral power that they have. And like we've always seen that the northern part of the country, how the role they play when it comes to voting, in each election. So, and when it comes to presidential race, we know how competitive it is that we want to, it's our turn. The other side is saying that it's our turn. And I think it's about, trying to, each is on trying to, underrate each other and all of that. But whichever the case is, I don't think what matters is being fiddle or that. And if you have looked at it, successively, Nigeria, as a nation, there is over time we have, we lack this sense of unity. And though we say we are united, we are this, we are that, but if you look at it in the real sense of it, there is this disparity in each region, and every part of the country wants to show the capacity and what they are, the kind of capacity they have and what they are up to when it comes to governance and electoral, processes. So I think that is the main issue, and for me to be sincere, that is not what we should be discussing, rather than good governance and how the best will rule the rest, so that we don't have non-entity at the affairs of the nation again. All
right, so we'll come back to that. However, on the Business Day newspaper, we see on its front page as well as its banner headline, big story, inside story of electronic bank fraud in Nigeria. Now, I'll read the first paragraph just for context. More than 6 high-profile electronic bank fraud cases took place in Nigeria between February and July this year. Among these was a failed attempt by an account of a federal government parastatal domiciled with one of the first-generation banks, in which well over 1 billion naira was transferred to various accounts across different banks in the country. There's an added quote: "It failed. Some repentant banks hackers told Business Day because the transfer were done over." And it continues on page 30. So, Mr. Adibayo, this is quite important because I've been hearing chatter about how there's some serious fraud, electronic fraud going on in Nigerian banks. So first of all, I want you to react to the story.
Well, it is sad. At the same time, that is a reflection of the Nigerian system. There is a sector you will go to that you will not see any hinge or tinge of corruption. So that tells you that there is no sector is experiencing this sanity. So even in the religious setting, you see pastors, imams, coming up with high-level allegations with one another, saying so person, even where you do not even expect, something like that to be happening. And this is a banking system where you have, everything is all about electronics now, internet and all of that. Yet people are still defrauding, the system.
Yes.
So it is so sad, and it is not something that anybody should be happy about. So what I think the issue is, it's about individual and the mindset that, everybody has, as citizens.
As a matter of fact, I can't quite recall who said this, but it was in a conversation, and he said one of the most corrupt, what word did he use again? But I guess he said one of the most corrupt sectors in the country right now is the banking sector. Not just the banking sector, but the commercial banking sector. And the reasons he gave were that they were unchecked, they were barely regulated, because the CBN just continues to dish out directives and expects them to follow. And on the surface level, they adhere to this directive. And a good example of one of these is the unsolicited bank charges one keeps getting. You understand? Now, what they do is they just keep changing the lingo, So if the CBN bans unsolicited charges and the likes of that, they're just going to hide it under another form of charges that they are still going to be making. Yeah. And these charges are so small, that customers can't go to the bank and complain, because it will cost you more to initiate a process of complaint. So he was saying that the banking system is so corrupt, and there's such a big rot in the banking system that one has to put his head down in shame when he hears the kind, of corruption, the kind of fraud, the kind of looting that goes on in there. So I just want to know whether you subscribe to this same belief, because it's really an allegation.
Of course I do, and that tells the Apex Bank, that tells them, that something needs to be done, and the entire sector and the system needs to be sanitized. And also it is high time we see the problem we've always had as a nation is that, when you have a nation that has been engulfed with poverty, and everybody or each person that has access to the place of leadership, where you should have one or two responsibilities, where your rights, some certain rights to drops, and your responsibility rises, or people see leadership here as an opportunity to solve personal problem. And so whatever opportunity you have in any sector, so it becomes an avenue, a platform for you to solve personal problem, even for the unborn generation, at the expense of other people's future. I think that is very bad, and it is high time CBN and all those who are concerned, critical stakeholders in that sector, rise to the responsibility and ensure that this problem stops.
All right, back to the Blueprint newspaper. We have how ex-CBN Deputy Governor Melafia died by Middle Belt Forum. We see that headline replicated on the Nigerian News Direct newspaper. Ex-CBN Deputy Governor Melafia dies at 64. May the soul of the departed rest in peace, and may the good Lord grant his family succor for the loss. So, Mr. Adebayo, yes, the Middle Belt Forum gave an explanation. I believe you have information that we don't have yet.
Yes, I do. It is a pathetic story yesterday, hearing that this Eged, passed away yesterday. I must admit that it's one of the best brain, that we've had, recently.
Yes.
And
honestly, he was even an ex-presidential candidate.
Yes. I've listened to him over and over, and I can feel his depth.
Yeah.
So the reports, that I read that where he was taken to at Gwagwalada hospital, and when he was pronounced in, and one of his son, brought in some medical consultant and said, okay, guys, you can. After which he has been pronounced that they should mount pressure on his chest and later, place him on a life support. Maybe he can come back to life. But those guys said no, we have already pronounced him dead, and there's nothing we can do again. So to a layman like me and other people, we may say, okay, maybe if that has been done, there is tendency it comes back to life. But death is a price that everybody needs to pay, and that there is nothing anybody can do about it. So the only thing we can just do is to pray for his family, so that God give them the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss, and to all friends and cronies that, yeah. So nobody expects this,
Yes,
at this critical time because of this debt and its impact, on Nigeria. So, but there is nothing anybody can do about it.
Quite unfortunate. The
Very
last
unfortunate.
conversation we had was about the current killing in southern Kaduna and how he was advocating for the Nigerian government to increase the presence of security personnel in the state. It's just unfortunate that we lost such, an icon and a beacon of hope to the people of southern Kaduna. All right, moving forward, we go to the Daily Trust newspaper. For the banner headline there, we see FG loses billions in port revenue over stalled boat service contract. The Nigerian Port Authority fails to engage new firms after Intel's row. At least 58 billion naira lost in 12 months. That's according to findings. Authority has no capacity to provide service. The matter is in court, and that's by the Nigerian Port Authority. So, I just want to state this. For a very long time, it's been clear that the Nigerian government has placed so much priority and focus on the nation's oil sector. Due to this, we've lost revenues, we've lost earnings, we've lost revenues in terms of foreign exchange, all because of the government's focus on, oil and the revenues being generated from oil. Now, this is no exception of that case because of its focus on other things, there's been a serious flood of resources going on and loss of a lot of money in various sectors, be it the agricultural sector, be it the mining sector, and even be it the nation's various ports. Now, we are stating that it's about the nation's seaports right now because it is the seaport that's on the front page. But we also know that even in the airports, we face such challenges. So what do you think the government needs to do to ensure that even though focus is on the oil sector, the losses being recorded in these various other sectors is at least minimized?
Well, some weeks ago, I also read a report of what was happening, especially in Lagos, and it's just very bad that every now and then we are just hearing about this. In fact, some weeks ago or so we heard about how the House of Reps said about 65 MDAs have not been audited in the last since their creation. And you
yes,
can imagine
I think I read that as well.
And you can imagine the quantum of fraud that will have happened, in that particular.
And they still receive budgetary allocations.
Honestly, yes, every year. So that tells you, the kind of system we are in. So that we need to just be decisive in tackling this menace called corruption. So corruption should not just be fight against corruption should not just be a nomenclature. It's something we need to be very decisive about and ensure that we curtail it.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, for the Daily Times newspaper, we see regional problems can't be solved in isolation, and that's by the Senate President. For the banner headline, we see OPS wants FG's directive over VAT repayment, says delay in addressing the issue could cause negative effect on businesses. FIRS push for amendment of VAT Act will fail, and that's by Governor Akeredolu. Quite some other interesting headlines on the Daily Times newspaper as well as the other newspapers we discussed this morning. To get updated, you could simply grab a copy of any of this newspaper so you can read through. And that's it for Nigeria Now this morning. Remember, you could be a part of Nigeria Now by connecting with us on our various social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TOS TV Network. You could also watch the Nigeria Now as well as read some of our content via our website at www.tostvnetwork.com, as well as watch a recap of Nigeria Now and other programs by TOS TV Networks via our YouTube page at TOS TV Network. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's it for the show this morning. My name is Sagir Ibrahim, and I'll see you tomorrow.